In this video, I'm going to show you how you can unlock your subconscious mind. I'm going to show you the 3 different steps that you can take to start tapping into that power today. Whether you're conscious to it or not, your subconscious literally influences everything you see. You don't see a reality right now with your eyes. You see it through the filters of your subconscious. All the beliefs, all the opinions, all the ways that you're supposed to be, what you should experience, what you deserve, or what you don't deserve. So even though you might think that you see everything that is possible, you are only able to perceive and experience and be aware of what your subconscious allows in to your conscious awareness. Your subconscious and whatever programs you're running on, which are heavily formed between the ages of 0 and 7 years old, because you're in theta brainwave, which is the brainwave of the subconscious. So you're literally a giant sponge. And if you don't update those old beliefs, they will literally continue to influence everything you see, similar to this. So I've put a filter on how you're able to see this video right now. This is how you could be experiencing reality even if you're unaware of it. That your subconscious and whatever those programs are is potentially blocking you from happiness or freedom or peace because it continues to recreate and find experiences from the past. So in this video, I'm going to show you these 3 steps so that you can start to be aware of the program and learn to step out into a program that supports and aligns with the reality that you really want to experience and the one you deserve to have. So let's get started. Have you ever been at home alone and maybe you hear something and you're like, oh no, what was that? Is somebody inside? Somebody in the house? And your heart starts racing. You start to get anxious. You don't know what to do. Your body is starting to get tense. You're starting to get scared. You don't know if you should hide under the bed or in a closet or see what's happening. And eventually you discover that actually you are completely alone and everything's actually fine. The entire time you were safe. But your body was fearful for your safety, so physiologically it was responding to a threat. Why? That's because of our primal design for survival, meaning that you are wired to survive. So when you think about the subconscious, it's important for you to understand that your subconscious is all about safety. A lot of subconscious programs that you have right now could actually be limiting you and keeping you from the experiences you're wanting in life. So why don't they change? Because they feel they are keeping you safe. The subconscious is all about safety because safety is linked to survival. So if you can start to understand that whatever early on dynamic you grew up in, whatever was safe or unsafe, those were impressed into your subconscious mind, meaning that they could be unconsciously influencing you. So this could be obvious where maybe your caretakers were really physically abusive or they were screamed a lot. There was a lot of obvious chaos that made you feel scared. This could also look like silent disappointment, that you fear that if you didn't do something right, then you would be abandoned or then somebody wouldn't love you. Maybe when you were little and you said no, you got shamed or guilted. How dare you? You're so ungrateful. So then it made you feel scared that you might not belong to the group you were in and be abandoned emotionally. Whatever you actually experienced where you didn't feel safe, even if you just perceived that you weren't safe, something dangerous was going to happen. Your subconscious stored that and has been living as if that was a universal truth. I can't go and be emotionally open and be vulnerable and be myself. If I do, I'm going to be all alone. Everyone's going to leave me. So if you can start to understand that your subconscious programs are trying to keep you safe. Now, the first thing you can do with this, you can start to re-reason on the past. Use your adult mind, go back and see that experience of your childhood. If you had an emotionally irresponsible parent who guilted or shamed you, if you can see yourself as a kid and realize, wow, it wasn't that I wasn't good enough. I was lovely and wonderful. This adult caretaker had no idea how to interact with me. They were the ones who lacked what it took to meet my needs. I wasn't asking for too much. I'm not a burden in life. I'm actually a wonderful gift. If my parent or caretaker was overwhelmed by my presence or facing their responsibility to take care of me, that was because they didn't have the space, not because I'm too much. The more and more you do this, the more you can start to step in and see that it is safe to be yourself, that it is safe to have your needs met, that it is safe to be fully seen and heard. Because as long as you live through the early on impressions of you weren't safe, if you apply that to your current life, which is what your subconscious programs are doing, you will never be able to experience what you really want because your subconscious is like, trust me on this. You're not going to be safe and get what you want. You better push away what you want so we can stay alive. Going back to that early on experience, you're not there to blame or hate on or even keep yourself in a powerless state with that early on experience, but you're there to see that you were always whole, you were always complete, and you were always worthy of having your needs met. The environment that you grew up in is not a definition or a reflection of your worth. And you can start to teach your body that it is safe so your subconscious can upgrade to a new program. Did you know that Harvard Medical School did a study where they taught a group a specific exercise for the piano? They asked that group to practice 2 hours a day for 5 days. And at the end, they measured their brain. And what they found is that their motor cortex actually expanded. And you think, well, that makes sense. They're practicing, so their brain is going to look different after they've actually laid down those neurological pathways. They've physically done it. They've gone through the experience, so no wonder the brain reflects that new experience. Well, did you know that they also got a second group? But this second group never touched a piano. They did practice in their imagination for 2 hours a day for 5 days. And at the end of 5 days, that group also showed their motor cortex had expanded, meaning their brain looked different after that experiment than it did before. Why in the world is this happening? Because your brain does not know the difference between a real life experience and a very vivid mental rehearsal, meaning that inside your body, it is as if that experience is happening, not thinking of it and not daydreaming of it, because that is very different, but literally practicing in your body. So what does this mean for you? Well, this means that you can take time out of your day every day and begin to practice that new subconscious program. This is why it's really important for it not to be, oh, I want a relationship or I want $100,000, because it's too vague. You can't have an internal experience like that. You've got to make it real life. What would that feel like? What kind of inner experience can you rehearse at the level of your senses, giving your body sensations to signal that it is actually happening? So your brain literally accepts it as, oh, okay, well, that's happening. And doing this more and more and more, you're literally creating those new neurological pathways to represent this new you. Now, this can also happen in the negative realm where you continue to recycle those old programs. And even though nothing's happening, you are thinking, oh man, what if it all goes to disaster? Oh my gosh. And then they don't call, and then that gets canceled, and then I lose oh my goodness. So that is literally at the physical level, you are imagining that. And inside your body, that is as if it's happening. So start to be more mindful about where you allow your imagination to take your sensations. If you can sit down 10 to 15 minutes every day, try this for 1 week. Try to sit there and practice putting some music on to block out your audio, putting something over your eyes to block out your visual, and trying to go inside and create these experiences to such the degree, to such a vivid level that your mind believes it to be true, that your body believes it to be true. The more and more you do this and take the essence of what you're looking for, the more you start to ask yourself, who do I need to be? What would that feel like? The more you can start to create the brain networks of that new you. Now, this last thing you're going to do is combine step 1 and step 2, meaning that as you dissolve the old and as you start to imagine that new you, you're going to apply that to the present moment. And I call this minding the gap. If you have something come up, there's some sort of event that comes up. Maybe you thought you were going to get this job, everything was looking good, and then at the last second, second, it's crickets. Maybe they ghost you. They contacted you every day for the past week, and then they're saying, okay, well, we're just going to work on this paperwork and then we'll get back to you. And it's been 1 day, 2 day, you're like, oh man, I knew this was going to happen. Every time I get my hopes up, nothing ever works out. Somebody else gets picked over me. I'm always second best. And you don't actually know what happened in the situation. This situation, and every situation, as annoying as it is actually neutral. We put meanings, we put labels based on those subconscious programs that we're actually in. The situation comes up, what meaning do you place on it? Okay, so in that example I just gave you, oh, this is happening again. Yep, sure enough, never works out. I always get picked over. No one actually wants me. No one values me. So I'm guessing that would be the old program. The more you can bring your conscious awareness to what meaning you're putting on that, and then do ABC, which is be aware, okay, I'm starting to tell myself the story that I'm not good enough, that everyone else gets picked and I'm second best, or I'm never picked. And then you're going to need to breathe, because your nervous system is actually going to respond as if you're getting rejected back in that early on experience. Maybe you had siblings and maybe your parents always seemed to think that your sibling was better, or maybe they got special treatment, or maybe they got something and you felt that your parents thought they were better than you. Maybe growing up, you never got the connection that you needed and didn't get the validation that is so vital in the formative years, and you just think that you're never valued, period. In that situation, you are powerless. So what you got to do in the present moment with your conscious awareness is you've got to breathe, regulate the nervous system, stay grounded, stay in the present moment, understand what's going on. And Dr. Peter Levine has a technique called VU. And the reason it's important and the reason you do it, even though I thought it was really silly at first, because it's like, what is this going to do? Because literally you just VU, and then you can actually add a wow on there. Wow. And the reason this is so important, and it's amazing that we can actually all do this, is because it starts to stimulate your vagus nerve. And why do you care about your vagus nerve? Because it helps to shift out of fight or flight. Remember that fight or flight is going to be the old program. You're a little kid, you can't help protect yourself, you can't keep yourself safe. So as you start to calm your nervous system and stay in that parasympathetic nervous system, it allows you to be in a creative, nope, there I go. No, I'm going to stay with me. I know I can keep me safe. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe you can follow up with them. Maybe you not getting that position actually keeps you away from a recurring dynamic from your past. And maybe that no is actually a greater yes. The more you can start to see, okay, what meaning am I placing on this situation? Does it align with the new program you're using every time? Am I in the old program or the new program? ABC. Awareness of it. Breathe to regulate your nervous system and make the new choice to align with that subconscious program that you've been practicing from step 2, so that you can step out of the old and step into that new program and start to see the world with an entirely new set of eyes, an entirely new set of perceptions, starting to perceive of opportunities, situations, and people that actually align with that reality that you are consciously creating. Now, the next step you can take is learning to start to be that ideal you now. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all. If you want to support this video, click like. If you want more videos like this, join the community, and I will see you on the next one.